Salvete omnes. This is Independent Uses of the Subjunctive, Chapter 43, Exercise D. This is translating from English into Latin. Feel free to parse at your leisure. That means if you run into trouble, you should parse. So let's begin. Number 1. Let them not ever think that they have defeated me. So let them not ever think. Let them, third person plural. So that is a jussive subjunctive. Third person plural. Not, so it's negated by the adverb not, and that is ne. Ne is the negation for the subjunctive, hortatory, optative, and jussive. We have a jussive here, so we're going to use ne. Ever is the adverb umquam. So we're going to have ne umquam, and then think. We have a couple words for think. We have existimo, existimare, existimavi, existimatus. We have puto, putare, putavi, putatus. I'm going to go ahead and use puto. So puto, putare. The present time is puta with the a. Change the a to an e. You get pute, add the ent, putent. If you use existimo, existimare, it will be existiment. So ne umquam putent, or ne umquam existiment. Let them not ever think. Jussive subjunctive. May they never think. Now, what should they not think? That thing that they should not think. A thing is a noun. This is an entire clause, so this is a noun clause. Answers the question of what thing should they not think? That they have defeated me. Because this whole noun clause is acting like one big accusative direct object of this verb think, the subject will be in the accusative case and the verb will be an infinitive, because only an infinitive is the verbal that goes with an accusative. So we're going to ignore the that. There's no word for that in Latin that corresponds to the English word that here. So we have the accusative subject they. So we want the accusative plural masculine of is, ea, id. So that they. So eos, that they have defeated. I'm sorry, it could be eos, but let them not ever think that they. This is going to actually be the same they. So let them not think that they, and this they is the same as the them. That means that this subject is going to be reflexive, because the them is the subject of the verb think, the subject of the verb introducing the indirect statement. If that person or that noun is the same, then you use the reflexive in the indirect statement. So let them, the subject of think, not think that they, same subject, they, accusative, say, have defeated me. They have defeated me. To defeat, we could use winco here, or we could use supero. I'm going to go with supero. Supero, superare, superavi, superatus. They have defeated me. Now, we get the tense of the infinitive in the indirect statement from how it relates temporally to the main verb. So this is going to be present time, or actually it's subjunctive, so it's always future time. So let them not ever think at any point in the future that they have already, prior to them thinking it, defeated me. Prior actions are in the perfect tense. So se, supera, we say, because it's perfect and active, that they have defeated. The direct object of this verbal is me, the accusative of ego. So se, me, supera, we say. Altogether, ne umquam putent, se me supera, we say. Number 2, let her always believe that her sons were killed in the war. Which war? You know, the war. So let her always believe. It's kind of mean. Her, the subject is going to be her. Let her, third person singular. So once again, another jussive subjunctive, only this time in the singular. Always, the adverb always, semper, and then believe. Here's our verb, credo, credere, credidi, creditus. Takes the dative. So if you believe someone, that someone's going to be in the dative. But here, what she should always believe, that's an indirect statement. This is a noun clause. This is what thing, this whole big long thing is acting like one big noun that she should believe. So let her always believe. Third person singular present active subjunctive of credo, credere. It's a third conjugation. The present stem is cred, add the a, creda, and then the t, credat. Let's also go ahead and put an ea for her, so that we wouldn't automatically sexistly think of him. So, ea semper credat, let her always believe that, indirect statement. Do not translate anything for that into Latin. Her sons were killed in the war is the indirect statement. The subject of the indirect statement must be in the accusative case, so her sons, and the verb will be an infinitive, were killed. So her sons. Whose sons? It's her sons. You can just put filios, the accusative plural masculine of filios, fili, masculine son, or you can go ahead and modify it with the possessive adjective suos, suos, from suos a And if you work with the reflexive possessive adjective suos, keep in mind that the su part in suos, that is the reflexive part, that refers back to the same her, the subject of the verb that introduces the indirect statement. The os part, the ending, that agrees with the noun filios. So suos filios, it's her own sons, the subject's own sons. And they were killed in the war. So in the war, in plus the ablative bello, in bello, they were killed. We want an infinitive here. We want the perfect infinitive because this action, were killed, it is prior to, it happened before the main verb believe. So they were killed. Interficio, interficere, interfeci, interfectus. You could also use occido. So we have something like interfectos esse. Interfectos esse. Perfect passive infinitive. It needs to be interfectos, os, accusative plural, masculine ending, to agree with the subject filios, because it were the sons who were killed. Sons interfectos esse were killed in bello, in bello. Note that many Latin authors will omit the esse, so they'll just have interfectos. They'll do the same thing with the future active infinitive. So something like number 2, ea semper credat suos filios in bello interfectos esse. Number 3, let us all look at the army as it marches to the camp. So let us all look at the army. Let us. Why, a gardener, a horticulturalist, might grow lettuce in his hortus, in his garden. Horticulturalist, hortatory, yes, hortatory. Hortatory subjunctive. You're exhorting, urging someone else to do something with you. Let us, let's all look at the army. Let's do it. Let us all look. So this is going to be first person plural, hortatory subjunctive, all. So we're going to use this all is an adjective. We're going to use it as a substantive. We could put the pronoun nos and then have the adjective here, but let's just go ahead and have the adjective stand in for the noun there and make it a substantive. So omnis omne, nominative plural. We're going to go ahead and make it, actually, it really doesn't matter if it's masculine or feminine. Hey, isn't that great? So, omnes, look at, specto, spectare, spectavi, spectatus. We want the first person plural, present active subjunctive. Let us all look. Specta is the present stem. Change the a to an e, specte, and then add the first person plural, mus, spectamus. Omnes spectamus. Omnes spectamus. At the army. Remember that the at is part of the verb. It's a transitive verb, takes the accusative direct object. So the army is the accusative direct object. Exercitus us masculine. It's a fourth declension. The accusative is going to be exercitum. The army is as it marches to the camp. Now, Don't do something like ut plus the indicative, like ut iter facet, or dum iter facet, or something like that. Okay, that's noobish. What you want to do here is you want to use a participle. You really want to use a participle here. The best, coolest authors would use a participle here. They use a present active participle. So to march is to iter facere. It's an idiom, to make a journey, to march. So the iter part is always going to be the direct object of the facio part, the verbal. So we want the present active participle of facio, facere, feci, factus. So faciens, facientis. And what's it agreeing with? What's the noun that's marching? It is the army. We already said the army is the accusative singular masculine, direct object. So we want the accusative singular masculine of faciens, facientis, and that would be facientem. Facientem. So an exercitum iter facientem, an army while it is making a journey, an army while it is marching. And we're going to look at it, omne spectamus. And it's marching to the camp. Ad plus casra. Ad casra. Casra, casrorum, neuter plural, always plural, with ad plus the accusative motion towards. So altogether, it could be something like exercitum ad casra iter facientem omne spectamus. All right, optime. Number 4. Let us hope that the enemy will not surpass us in number of cavalry. Hope. So number 4, let us hope that. If you hope something in Latin, like in English we can say, I hope to see you tomorrow, where I hope to see sounds like hope takes an infinitive. It does not really do that in Latin. Hope, spero, sperare, speravi, speratus always takes an indirect statement. So in a way it does take an infinitive, just not a complementary one. So it's let us hope that. So we have hope, spero, sperare, speravi, speratus. We want the let us. There's that gardener again, growing lettuce, that horticulturalist, hortatory subjunctive. Let us hope, first person plural, speremus, speremus, that. Here's our indirect statement. This is what we are hoping. What thing are we hoping? That the enemy will not surpass us in number of cavalry. It's like one huge, long accusative noun, which is why the subject, the enemy, will be in the accusative case. The verb will be an infinitive. So the enemy, remember that the enemy is going to be plural in Latin. An enemy, singular enemy, that's going to be hostis, hostis masculine. The plural is hostes, hostium. That's an I stem, masculine plural. So we're going to have hostes, the accusative, hostes. Will not surpass. We have known, which will negate the surpass. For surpass, I'm going to go ahead and use supero, superare, superavi, superatus. And the enemy will not surpass us. Hostes non superaturos, will not. We get the tense of the infinitive based upon how its relationship acts out with the main verb, the verb that introduces it. So let us hope that the enemy will not, subsequently in the future, after the hoping, let us hope that the enemy will not, in the future afterwards, surpass us. So we want the future infinitive here. Superaturus aum. We want to make it agree with the subject, the enemy, in the accusative. So superaturos, and then esse. And remember that a great many authors will omit the esse, so they'll usually just have superaturos. Okay, they will surpass the accusative direct object us, which is nos, nostrum, nosri, nobis, nos, nobis, so nos, in number of cavalry. Now, what kind of ablative is this? In number. This is an ablative of specification. So it specifies in what way the enemy will not surpass us. Will the enemy not surpass us in number of infantry? Will the enemy not surpass us in sheer number? Will the enemy not surpass us in hairstyle? Not surpass us in manliness? will not surpass us in etc., in age, in whatever category. That's going to be the ablative of specification, where it specifies in what way the enemy will not surpass us. So it's just the bare ablative, so just the noun in the ablative, numeros y masculine, so the ablative is numero, and number of cavalry. So we want the genitive plural of eques, equitus, masculine, we get equitum, numero equitum. So altogether, this is something like, Speremus hostes non nos superaturos esse equitum numero. Speremus hostes non nos superaturos esse equitum numero. Okay. Number 5. Let the tribune not hear that you deserted from the legion, because that's grounds for crucifixion. So let the tribune not hear would be bad. Let him, third person singular, not hear, so jussive subjunctive. So we want third person singular T ending on audio, audire, audivi, auditus. So the subject is tribunus, tribunus e masculine, the tribune. Not here, ne tribunus audiat. Audiat is the third person singular present subjunctive. Ne tribunus audiat. And what do we not want him to hear? That you deserted from the legion. Indirect statement. Indirect statement. It's a noun clause telling us what thing we don't want this tribune to hear. That you deserted from the legion. So the subject is in the accusative, you, and the verb will be an infinitive. The tense will come from how this verb, the infinitive verb, interacts with the main verb. So let the tribune not hear that you've already deserted from the legion. You already did the bad thing. So this is perfect tense because it is prior, already happened in relationship to the main verb. Let the tribune not hear that you deserted. You've already deserted from the legion. So you, if it's singular, it's going to be te, the accusative of two. If you want it to be plural, that would be vos, the accusative of vos. Deserted, that's going to be deficio, deficere, defeci, defectus, with a plus the ablative of separation. So a legione, from legio, legionis feminine, legion. Yes, legion is feminine. Deserted, so deficio, deficere, defeci. We want the perfect active because you actively deserted from the legion. And you already did it by the time the tribune might not hear about it. It's already been done. So we want the perfect active, defecisse. So, a legione defecisse. Altogether, number 5, something like, ne tribunus audiat te a legione defecisse. Which would be bad. It would be quite bad. 6. Let the judgments of our famous judge be accepted by all the citizens. So let the judgments, let the third person plural judgments, so jussive subjunctive, let the judgments, the judicia, from judicium, judici, neuter, judicia, so nominative plural neuter, judicia, of our famous judge. So the judgments, the subject, belong to the genitive, our famous judge. We want all this to be genitive. So judge is judex, judicis, masculine. Famous, notus aum, or we could say clarus aum or praeclarus aum. And then our is noster, nostra, nostrum. So altogether something like nostri judicis noti. And so we have judicia, nostri judicis noti, be accepted by all the citizens. So be accepted. This is accipio, accipere, accepi, acceptus. We want the third person plural present passive, be accepted, passive subjunctive. So accipiantur, accipiantur. And by whom is this passive voice verb supposed to be done? Well, who is the agent, the doer? That would be ablative, ablative of agent. Ab for persons, like citizens. Civis, civis, masculine or feminine, ablative, civibus. civibus. So altogether, number 6 is something like Judicia nos reiudicis noti ab omnibus civibus accipiantur. Make sure you add the all, omnis, omne, omnibus, ab omnibus civibus. 7, another hoping verb. I hope that your children will learn many things about the world and its regions once the pandemic is away. So 7, I hope that your children. I hope, spero, just the plain old first person singular present active indicative spero. That your children. This whole thing is what I hope. What thing I hope. What do I hope? This whole big noun clause. That your children will learn many things about the world and its regions. So ignore the that. Indirect statement. Subject will be accusative case. Your children. Your children will be doing the verb, which will be an infinitive. So your children, that's tuus aum, and liberi, liberorum, masculine, plural. So the little free people, children. So tuos liberos, spero tuos liberos. I hope that your children will learn. For learn here, because it's will learn, this is a subsequent action. So this is going to happen after I hope. I hope in the present time right now that your children afterwards, subsequently, will learn many things. So we want this to be in the future tense. Now we have cognosco and disco for to learn. Disco does not have a fourth principal part. Disco, discere, didici. But cognosco does. Cognosco, cognoscere, cognovi, cognitus. So we're going to use cognosco. So cognitus is the fourth principal part. Cogniturus, aum is the future. Your children, accusative plural masculine. Cognituros, os, accusative plural masculine ending to agree with your children. Cognituros esse, and some writers will leave out the esse. Many things. Don't put the things. This is not multi-res or multas res. Don't do that. Many things. This is plural neuter. That makes this a substantive. We're going to put a plural neuter ending on the adjective multus aum. So many things is multa, multa. The accusative plural masculine, or I'm sorry, the accusative plural neuter ending, multa, many things. That's substantive. So cognituros esse multa, you're going to learn many things, and then many things about, de, about, de, de, preposition that takes the ablative, about the world and its regions. Now the world, the Latin word for world is orbis terrarum, weird, in orb, like a sphere, a circle of lands. It's almost like it's not flat. Strange. Anyway, so orbis terrarum, the sphere of lands, and the world's regions, and the regions. So de orbe terrarum, about the circle, the orb of lands, et regionibus, from regio regionis, feminine. So sentence 7 is something like spero tuos liberos, multa de orbe terrarum et regionibus, cogniturus esse. Excellent. 8. Do not hesitate to speak your opinion about the plot, said the consul, saith the consul. Notice first off, we have quotation marks. That means that we are directly quoting the consul. Do not hesitate to speak your opinion about the plot, quoth the consul. So this is really what the consul said, and because the Romans lacked punctuation marks, they have a different verb for to say when they want to show a direct quotation. So do not use dico here. Dico, dicere, dixi, dictus is the king of indirect statement. So we said if the sentence was something like, the consul said that you ought not to hesitate to speak your opinion about the plot, that would be consul dixit, and then it would kick us into an indirect statement. We don't have that here. We are directly quoting the exact words of the consul in a quotation. So we use quotation marks to indicate that quotation. And the verb for said must be inquit. Inquit. You have to use inquit. Typically, what will happen is the quotation will start for a word or two, and then it will be interrupted by the inquit. Sometimes then the subject will come in, sometimes the subject will come very first, and then the quotation will continue on. So typically the inquit interrupts after the first couple words of the quotation. So, number 8, do not hesitate to speak your opinion about the plot. So we have a negative imperative here. And so that's going to be an optative subjunctive because you're speaking to a you. So ne plus the second person singular perfect subjunctive of hesitate. So ne dubito, dubitare, dubitavi, dubitatus. Dubitab is the perfect stem. Ad eris dubitaveris. Ne dubitaveris. And then that's where I would interrupt. I would put quotation marks, ne dubitaveris, comma, and quotation marks, and then write inquit consul, and then comma, begin quotation marks, and finish off the quotation. You could start off with consul, comma, quotation marks, ne dubitaveris, comma, quotation marks, inquit, comma, quotation marks, finish the quotation. That works as well. But the inquit should interrupt the quotation after the first couple words. So ne dubitaveris. Now we will continue with the quotation after the inquit consul, or just the inquit. So do not hesitate. So dubito, when it means to hesitate, takes a complementary infinitive, and that is to speak. Dico dicere, dixi dictus, to speak, and then a direct object. Your opinion. We want the accusative of tuus and sententia I feminine. So tuam sententiam, and your opinion about the plot. So de plus the ablative. The Latin word for plot is always plural. It's insidiae aurum feminine plural. So de insidiis. De insidiis. So altogether, number 8 could say something like ne dubitaveris inquit consul. Tuam sententiam de insidiis dicere. Number 9. Let us halt in this little valley, far from the enemy's camp. So let us halt. There's that lettuce again growing in that hortus. So hortatory subjunctive, first person plural, let us halt. First person plural of consisto, consistere, constiti, constitus. So consistamos, because the third conjugation, consist, is the present stem, add the a, consistamos. Let us halt. Where are we going to halt? Ablative of location. In plus the ablative, this little valley. This is hic haec hoc, little is parvus and valley is vallis feminine. So in hoc valle parva, with the macron over the final a. In hoc valle parva, far from the enemy's camp. Far is an adverb, longe, and then ab, plus the ablative of separation, from the camp of the enemy, with enemies being the genitive of possession. It's going to be in plural, the enemy. If it were from an enemy's camp, then enemy would be singular, hostis. Here it's plural, the I stem, hostium. So longe ab hostium casris being the ablative separation with ab. So altogether the sentence could say something like in hac valle parva longe ab hostium casris consistamos. And number 10, let that tribune not lead his forces into the territory of the enemy. Could be dangerous. So let that tribune not lead. Okay, like number 5, let the tribune not hear. Only this is that tribune, that one. You know which one. That one over there. If it's that tribune over there, then it'll be ille tribunus. Ille tribunus. If it's just that one, that one. Which one? I don't know. Some tribune. Then that's going to be is tribunus. Let's go ahead and say ille tribunus. ille tribunus. So let that tribune not lead. Let him not do this. So jussive subjunctive, because it's third person singular, lead of duco, ducere, duxi, ductus. Present sim is duke, add the a, ducat. It's negated by ne, so ne ducat. Ne ille tribunus ducat. Okay, so let that tribune not lead. His forces. Whose forces? Well, his own. You could say suosa green with copiae aurum feminine plural forces or troops. So suos copias. You don't really need the suos here because, of course, whose forces would he be leading other than his own? It's kind of strongly implied that the forces are already his if he's leading them. If you really want to emphasize that, oh yeah, he's leading his own forces, go right ahead and put the suos, but you really don't need it. So ne ille tribunus copias, you could put the suos there. And to where is he leading them? Into the territory of the enemy. Into is not just in plus the ablative, but in plus the accusative, because we're motioned towards into the territory. We are in plus the accusative. Territory is the plural of finis, finis masculine, so fines finium, another I stem, masculine plural, territory. So in fines, accusative plural, motion towards, in fines, of the enemy, of the enemy. Like in sentence 9, we have the genitive, hostium, genitive plural hostium, of hostis, hostis, masculine. So in hostium fines, in hostium fines. So altogether, sentence 10 could say something like, ne ille tribunus copias in hostium fines ducat, because that could be dangerous. Optime, very well done. This wraps it up for chapter 43, independent uses of the subjunctive. Next chapter, chapter 44, purpose clauses, the first of many dependent uses of the subjunctive. Optime, valete omnes.